That's it, kill that guy, real good, real... It's time to kill, no, go! Oh, hello everyone, I didn't see you there. You know, sometimes it's good to get away from all the HD Gamer Score trophy support on disc DRM DLC update patch crap that is gaming today, and take a trip down memory road to a more simple time in gaming. And I know the PS2 isn't exactly taking a trip down memory lane, but for me it kind of is, because this is the console that I grew up with. I remember when The Simpsons Hit and Run first ever came out for the PS2, and I remember when I first saw that advertisement on TV, and I was just so blown away at how cool it looked. And I remember turning around to look at my mum, just like, this looks so good. And I remember her saying, well, that looks really good, I'll get you that later. And I remember the next day just taking it to school and saying, hey everyone, play this game, and then they did. And that was pretty much how it went down. Why am I blabbering on nostalgically about the PS2, you might be wondering? Well, the PS2 brought with it a lot of great 3D platformers like Ty, Psychonauts, Jak and Daxter, Klonoa, others, and it's games like those that really shaped my childhood and what became my favourite genre, the 3D platformer. But as time went on, first-person shooters became more profitable and 3D platformers became less so. So the characters I grew up with eventually died out in favour of bland, generic shooters. So you can probably see why I'm a little bit bitter towards them. And the characters that didn't die out probably should have done. But today I have here a game, a 3D platformer, that will hopefully show the world that 3D platformers can still have a home on current gen consoles, other than Nintendo. The game I'm here to review today, I always screw that bit up, is Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. Although it was only with the release of the HD collection that I first played a Sly game, they always had a sense of familiarity to them, almost as if they seemed nostalgic to me despite playing for the first time. And while the Sly games aren't up there for me with Ratchet and the like, they're still great platformers, so I was pleased to see that a Sly 4 was on the way. And now that I've got it in my sweaty little hands, let's get into Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time. But before I do, a quick history lesson. Sly 4 came into fruition when Sanzaru Games, the developers of the HD collection, were upset to see that Sucker Punch weren't planning a Sly 4, so Sanzaru took it upon themselves to build a prototype for a new Sly Cooper game with no pay or permission. But when they revealed their secret and pitched it to Sony, they loved what they had done and so gave them the keys to the franchise. Which means that not only is Thieves in Time the result of love for the franchise, but they put their jobs on the line by making it under Sucker Punch's noses. This wasn't a money thing or some kind of contractual obligation thing, which unfortunately nowadays is the case most of the time. The reason we don't see 3D platformers nowadays is because developers don't like taking risks at the chance of failure, which is why in my opinion it's amazing to see Sanzaru taking a huge risk by making a fourth entry in a not so successful franchise in an even less successful genre. But anyway, enough of the history lesson, let's get into the game. Thieves in Time picks up straight after the events of Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves, with Sly feigning amnesia to be with Carmelita, Maury using the truck in racing championships, and Bentley and his now girlfriend Penelope constructing a time machine. And it's then when Bentley notices that words from the Thievius Raccoonus are slowly disappearing. So Bentley gets the crew back together once again, and using the new time machine, the gang set out to discover who is behind this. And as simple as it sounds, that pretty much is the story this time round. As the story goes on, Sly's ancestors and even Carmelita get caught up in the mix. And let me tell you, I never thought I would ever care about the troubled relationship between two raccoons in a video game, but here I am. I really hope they sort things out, they're so cute together. But with Thieves in Time being a time travel story, there are always inevitably going to be plot holes. For example, at one point, Sly needs to retrieve an ancestor's cane after it's been stolen, but couldn't he just go back in time to before it was stolen at all? And at another point, Sly needs to find one of his ancestors that have gone into hiding, but couldn't he just go back in time to before he went into hiding? Or hell, just go 1 hour into the future to ask the future Sly where they found him. Also, there are certain points in the game in which the enemy provide a challenge for Sly, but if he just kept going back in time to that particular moment, the multiple Slys could outnumber them easily. I know, I'm overthinking a game that was intended for people half my age, but I can't help it. After going from Bioshock Infinite to Thieves in Time, there's going to be some overthinking. But then again, maybe I shouldn't be picking apart the inaccuracies of a game in which a raccoon invented sushi. I was worried that with it being 8 years since the last Sly Cooper game, the voice actors wouldn't naturally be able to slip back into their characters. But if they did, I never noticed a thing, because the Sly gang are better here than they have ever been. But I don't know, maybe they're getting paid more this time round, because you can tell that everybody is having such a blast with their characters, and they really are the exact same characters they were in 2005. Sly still has his sarcastic remarks, Bentley has his technobabble, and Murray still constantly talks in the third person. Honestly, seeing these guys work off each other, it becomes close to being a Saturday morning cartoon at times. I mean, really, look at this. You're watching a giant pink hippo dressed as a geisha dancing in feudal Japan. 20 seconds ago you were pickpocketing a crane, now you're dressed as a giant geisha in a rhythm game where you have to... And what is going on? And that really is the kind of wacky stuff that's thrown at you throughout the entire game. It also feels especially cartoony with the new and improved cutscenes, which are a lot more fun to watch this time round. And yes, yet again, Carmelita has a new voice actor, and this time round she's played by Grey Liesel? Lisley? Yeah, that's it. She's played by Grey Lisley. Much like everything else, the gameplay is exactly how it used to be, and I don't just mean it feels familiar, I mean the controls are identical, the combat is, I think, identical, and with the return of clue bottles, safes and treasures, it really feels like Sanzaru are taking ideas from all three games, and it really does feel like this game came out back in 2005. Then again, maybe a bit too much, like it came out in 2005. Yeah, the loading screens are pretty bad. I mean, it isn't the worst loading screen I've ever witnessed in a game. I mean, that honour goes to Spyro Enter the Dragonfly. Anyone who remembers that game, my god, those loading screens were bad. But in 2013, this really shouldn't be a problem. But something that's always seemed prominent to me throughout the Sly games is that it's never as much fun playing as Murray or Bentley. And unfortunately, I still feel like this is the case this time round. Whenever I had to do a Murray or a Bentley mission, I was just like, I don't want to play as him, I want to be Sly, we're gonna be Sly. Not only do the other characters just feel slow and cumbersome in comparison to Sly, but the environments were clearly designed for Sly in mind, as most of the collectibles can only be obtained by Sly. But like I said earlier, in each world you get to play as one of Sly's ancestors. And ironically, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, I don't like playing as these guys because they're too much like Sly. And apart from them all having a special move, which only goes towards finding the collectibles, such as being able to jump further distances or scale certain walls, they're just like Sly. And as for Carmelita, I think there's literally 2 missions in the entire game where you get to play as her, and all she can do is shoot her stupid gun and run around really slowly, so there's literally no reason to play as Carmelita at all. Bottom line, you'll always want to be playing as Sly. Similar to the previous Sly games, throughout Thieves in Time, there are certain terminals and machines that require hacking, and they mostly resemble old arcadey shoot-'em-up games. They may not always be the most challenging or fun, but they do a pretty good job of making the game not feel monotonous. But one of the weirder new additions to the game is a minigame that requires 6-axis to maneuver a ball from point A to B. Yeah, remember 6-axis? That really tacked on gimmick that was forcefully implemented into like every launch game on the PS3 that hasn't been used in a game since Mirror's Edge, and just like all those games, this feels pretty tacked on. And the entire time I was using it, I was just left feeling confused more than anything, like I was waiting for the punchline to a joke. But strange motion controls and occasional gameplay hiccups aside, Sly 4 is a great return to form for the platforming genre. It's everything that you remember from the original Sly trilogy, and its transition into the current gen is done so with gusto, and hopefully, judging by how many ancestors Sly apparently has, there'll be enough to warrant a Thieves in Time too, because not only do I want to see more Sly, but hopefully this is the start of platforming really making its home on the PS3 and beyond. But saying that, I wouldn't recommend Thieves in Time as the game to jump into the franchise with. It's the same kind of thing as Portal. You can play Portal 2 first, but you will appreciate it 100 times more if you played them in order. It's the difference between, oh my god, is that freaking clockwork? Oh my god, that's so cool! And, hey, cool, robot bird, that's cool. Between, hey, mugshot's coin, nice touch game, I see what you're doing there, that's clever, I like that. And, hey look, a coin. Cool, I guess. Still, Sanzaru Games did a great job of reviving Sly, and here's hoping we haven't seen the last of him. So that's Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time, and it's great to see that in 2013, a 3D platformer can come out and be successful in today's gaming industry. But the question is, what's next? A new Klonoa? New Ty? Psychonauts? Vex? Jack? Crash? I don't know. This game should be an indicator to all developers out there that they can and should bring back some of their most loved gaming mascots and make a profit without having to make some kind of modernised version or anything. And you know what, after playing this, I want to go back and play some of my favourite platformers. So you know what, that's what I think I'm going to go do right now. See you next time everybody, thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, that rating system I was doing, the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, I don't really want to do that anymore. I know it only lasted for 1 review, and it's something I wanted to try out, but I realised that I don't really like it. So I'm still, rest in peace, Roger Ebert. I just don't want to use the rating system. So, bye. Want to catch up with all the latest Farfetched news? Maybe want to see some behind the scenes stuff, or just ask me a question? Either way, hit me up on my Facebook page in the description and give me a like. For some reason my jaw really hurt while I was reading the script. I don't know why. This took like 5 days to just do this script alone. Usually I can get it done in one sitting, but this time I had to do it in like little chunks. It's so annoying. Anyway, the annotations, click them, they take you to other videos. Go to Farfetch Plays, where I'm playing through Portal 2 Community Test Chambers, that I think, in my opinion, is very fun to watch, so go do it, because I said so. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm currently playing through Banjo-Kazooie right now, one of my favourite platformers ever, so good. Anyway, see you next time. Look what I found, it's a Yoshi egg, awesome, it's probably not intentional but still.